Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to TTML F1. We are here for Season 7, Round 7 of the Championship as we take the Australian Grand Prix from the Albert Park Street Circuit. My name is James. I'm going to be taking you to the stream, as always, a bit croaky at the minute because some sugar went down the wrong way in my throat, which is terrible. But joining me in the commentary box to save me from this voice crack and everything, it is Mr. Pepsi Freak. Pepsi, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Remember, James, it's always important to chew your food carefully before you swallow, or else these things can happen. So, I know we don't have a lifeguard on duty or a Heimlich on duty, so you're going to have to take care of yourself here. But regardless, we started the morning, well, you guys started the morning with Australia, and now you guys get to end the day with Australia. Well, I was technically still in different time zones, technically. But regardless, it's a full day of Australia here. Real life and now in the virtual world here, the end your day, where some of the best drivers of TTML will bring it around the older Australia.
Yeah, definitely. So Australia, obviously, one of the best tracks, I think, on the actual calendar in terms of the actual location and in terms, hopefully, of the actual racing tonight as well. TTML F2 was nothing short of drama, obviously, on Thursday. Hopefully more of the same to come, obviously, here tonight. We were speaking as well, just before we came live, in terms of the actual action around here, and hopefully it is going to be really good, of course, for the drivers out on track, and for you guys at home as well, that is viewing the stream. I need to get up the standings. I'm normally more prepared than this, but I need to get up and remind you what happened last week. Grosso, of course, took the took the sprint race win. Rudy and Fleddy second and third in the sprint race. In the feature race, Tom took the win, Rudy in second, Links in third. Of course, Jensen didn't show up last week, so the top three behind Jensen, basically, have now gained in terms of the championship standings, and we'll run them through quickly because we are due to go any second. Jensen leads the way on 146 points from Tom in second on 121. Rudy in third on 120 from Links in fourth on 111. Then a big gap to Fleddy in fifth on 75. MedTC in 6th on 68, Cosbury in 7th on 63, Funky Chicken in 8th on 61, Smalley in 9th on 57, and Zoidimer in 10th along with Boss Wanted, also on 54 points. Boss Wanted, however, has moved from a full-time driver to reserve. That means a return to IFR Luca, who has now joined, formerly TTG Luca, of course, last season. He is now back in the Alpine, taking that full-time spot. And obviously, Pepsi, coming in tonight, looks like we're going to get into qualifying straight away. Jensen holding a 25-point lead over Tom, Rudy and Links, but last week was really about those three that are chasing Jensen for that championship.
Yeah, because remember, Jensen did have a charity race he had to go to, and it was a situation where kind of a time conflict, so it was a good race for Tom and the rest to catch up, and they did leave a couple points on the board. We know Tom didn't have the good first race in the sprint, but had a great featured race, and we saw some other drivers kind of struggle, but it was a good breakaway for Rudy, Links, and Tom, but after interviews last week, all those three drivers didn't feel the most confident around Australia, and considering that it has had a 2-year absence on the calendar grid, some of these drivers may be a bit rusty, per se, around this track, because usually leagues like to run current tracks and tracks that kind of people like, and it's a situation where it may be a bit of a gap, so we'll see if these drivers can kind of learn this track quickly, maybe a little bit of a trial by fire. Yeah,
trial by fire, definitely, I think, and obviously, in real life, the track has obviously changed this this season. Obviously, today, obviously, we had the Australian Grand Prix at 6 a.m., I should say, UK time, which I had to wake up very early for. So, I'm a little bit bleary-eyed, I think, going into tonight's race. But, of course, it is the Albert Park Circuit. It's 5.3 kilometres and then 3.2 mile, 15 turns awaiting our drivers, of course, out on track. They have, of course, changed slightly. The chicane, of course, the 9 and 10 chicane that it's now known as, has been removed, obviously, in real life, and there are more DRS zones in real life. There's 4 DRS zones, of course, now in real life. 3, however, on this layout, of course, 1 down the start finish straight, 1 down and towards Whiteford Corner at turn number 3, and then 1 up towards Ascari at turn number 12. We will now see what the conditions are going to be playing out as in qualifying, and it's beautiful blue sky and sunshine, and that's exactly what we like to see.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that, James, you feel the pain of an American F1 fan getting up that early in the morning to watch these cars go around the track, especially if you're on the West Coast. So, yeah, welcome to the American world here for this week's GP. But anyway, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day. All the drivers look like no surprise rain, no surprise rainstorms, and the 19 drivers looking good to take on us. I think the first driver heading out there is going to be Jensen, unless someone else kind of sneaks out ahead of him, and I think someone from the Ferrari garage is maybe Chalkers?
Let's see if you're right. It is not. It's Shender coming out of the pit lane.
Oh,
He has had
the
a
other
name
one.
change slightly, Shender. It's simply Shender now. Not to be confused, of course, with simply Superman in TTML F2. But Shender, of course, he's coming out on a set of medium compounded tyres, which are quite interesting. I think Jensen was also coming out the pit lane there, and he's on a set of soft compounded tyres. So obviously we'll see different strategies as we go throughout qualifying. There are a few new drivers actually tonight in racing for the very first time. Shender, as I've already mentioned, with that name change. Vengeance is also a new driver, I believe, for the ET8 team. He's racing in the Williams as a reserve. Dara, TTG Dara, is back, and he is also in the Mercedes. He's representing, of course, the Mercedes alongside Rudy tonight, with, I think, Fleddy missing, if I'm not... No, Fleddy's in the McLaren. My apologies. And obviously, we already mentioned about IFR Luca. So, taking into account the name change of Shender, and also Vengeance, Dara, and Luca coming in for the very first time this season, how do you rate their performances coming in tonight? Because we don't know much about them.
Yeah, we don't know much about them either, and it's something where we're just going to have to kind of see, because we saw last week the Alfa Romeo driver, AlphaTauri, sorry, came out there and had a pole run and won the sprint race. So it just shows that a driver maybe coming out here could put down a great lap, could put down a time that could be something to show and mark out about, but do they have that race pace to back it up? Because they may have one lap pace. Like, a good example would be the other Alpine driver of... name not coming to me, Noah Jones, where he has good qualifying pace, but his race pace kind of struggles a little bit, and it's something to keep an eye out for, so definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah, only the one Alpine here tonight. Of course, Noah is recovering from COVID at this stage. We wish him well in his recovery. Shender's coming through turn 1 and 2, and he's already invalidated. So we'll go on board with Jensen on the run down in towards turn 1 and 2, and that is much cleaner from Jensen coming through turn 2. And then on the run down, of course, in toward Whiteford Corner, where they have widened, of course, the apex actually in real life by around 4 metres, I think, down towards turn 3. But now coming through the left-hand of turn number 4, and then in towards the right-hand of turn number 5, and towards the end of the first sector, where, of course, we had that incident with Latifi and Stroll in qualifying yesterday. 26.6 through the first sector from Jensen, typically flying, I've got to say, on this lap. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. Mercedes, I think, is just getting out of the way. No, sorry, the Alpine getting out of the way. That's Luca getting out of the way to the right-hand side. And now the Shazoo man, the championship leader, coming through turn 10. And then on the kink through 11, or in towards turn 11, in fact, through the chicane, of course, at 11 and 12. Of course, there's turns 9 and 10 in real life. 48.6 through the middle sector from Jensen. Takes turn 12 very nicely indeed. Then through the kink on the run up towards Ascari at turn number 13. And this is where the biggest change has been made into turn 13. Obviously, much flatter apex. Obviously, the track has been widened out completely through that section of the track by around 10 metres. Jensen now coming through in toward the final couple of corners, though, through the old turn 15, and then through cross corner at turn number 16, trying to fight the rear end as he comes through 16. But this is a very good lap, actually, from Jensen on the run to the line. And it's a 1:21 flat start off the night, and we should see drivers in the 20s by the end of the session.
Yeah, we definitely will see drivers in the 20s. I was kind of looking around the rest of the field here. I think Tom's about to cross the line because it's validated, so that time will not count.
Oh.
Mixture of softs and mediums here at the very least. But while I was looking around the field, Carlsby made a mistake, but I think he kind of was invalidating, let some people go. And we also had Smalley as well, who kind of spun it right in corner 10, just off 10. So, bit of a interesting bag here. Seems the drivers are, again, struggling a little bit here. We do have Aries next to put a time of a 1:27.169, and then Smalley, obviously, having that mistake, going to put down a 1:50.028. Will be P3, but definitely that time will not hold P3 unless the rest of the field has a mistake. And Fleddy steals it away from Jensen by well over 2/10 there. So, Fleddy showing that raising the bar to beat here at the very least, with Links, his teammate, coming in fourth, and we do see some other drivers, including Carlsby, but he's obviously made a mistake. METTC on the Sector 1. Just seeing if anyone else is close to making the run to the line, if there's anyone worth noting. I think Geronjo is as well. No, Black Box is in his Aston Martin, as now Dragon Smith gets a collision with Geronjo, speaking of Geronjo, and he's going to get a 5-place grid penalty.
Yeah, that's coming through turn number 5, where Vettel, of course, famously spun it in 2010 in the race, and that is why...
He's got no wing.
Yeah, he's got no wing at all, so it's unfortunate. I'm on board with Tom, though. Tom was looking very quick, coming through the final couple of corners. Rode on board through the middle sector, and he was quicker than Jensen, so he should go quicker than Jensen on this lap, maybe even quicker than Fleddy on the run to the line, and he goes quicker than both of them. 20.7 on 2-lap-old set of soft compounded tyres. He's now a 10th clear of Fleddy and 3 tenths clear of Jensen. That'll set up very nicely I think, for the rest of the session indeed. Vengeance there goes 5th as well. Dara, of course, with that front wing damage, obviously it looked like he ran into the back of him. One Rocco, I think, possibly he then validated his lap, and that is why he obviously backed off on that lap. MedTC is approaching the end of the lap as well. And the Red Bull coming out of turn 15, and then to the right hand of turn 16 at Prost corner, and he's there or thereabouts, I think, in terms of Tom's lap time, actually. MedTC on the run to the line, and he goes third, and he goes actually ahead of Jensen, and that's the first time I think we've seen so far this season in qualifying, as Dara is getting out of the way of everyone coming through turn 15. But MedTC, I think that's the first time, if I'm right in saying, that I've seen, certainly, that MedTC's out-qualified Jensen on pure one-lap pace so far.
I want to say it happened at Bahrain. I think Bahrain or Spain, he was pretty fast, so definitely something in the back there could be worth noting. But after Spain, it looks like, again, like I said, the Monstars, take a Space Jam reference, the Monstars came in and kind of took us down a little bit, because after that race, he's been a little bit struggling in the back, kind of struggling to kind of get a feel for the game, per se, so something at least at the very least worth noting. But right now, it looks like he's faster than Jensen, but we know Jensen definitely will go out there again, probably improve as the track gets re-rubbered, so obviously Tom's time probably is not a whole time right now. And don't take your checks to the bank and cash him quite yet. Seeing who else is on the runs here, we got Luca, but he just started his lap on his run. Daniel's coming through the last couple corners. I think he's on a slowdown lap, and Chalkers is the last one to really pushing for a lap here. He's going to cross the line. It's going to be a 1:23.046 for the Ferrari, and that's going to put him P9, and I believe the other, he is coming in, so no improvement lap for him. We do got MedTC on a second run here. He's actually improving up on his time, so we'll see where he can put it down. Can he get higher up the grid? Yes, he can.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a pole run, a 1:26.01. I think he may have been hearing us kind of saying, is a bit shocked he's up here, because now he's got pole position. Tom second, Fletty third, and Aries also ahead of Jensen. He also improved on 3-lap old softs.
Completely caught me off guard that lap time, because I didn't even see that. MedTC goes top though, I'll trust your word, 20.6 on a set of soft compound tyres. I was on board with Luca coming through the first sector, and then through the middle sector. He's looked actually quite consistent on this lap so far, is Luca. Coming through the right hander now of turn 13, and then of course in toward 14, 15 and 16, the final 3 corners. And Luca is really attacking, of course, former TTG man, now part of IFR. Very good driver, I've got to say, part of IFR. They've got so many good drivers in that team, obviously. Most of them have been represented or are representing IFR, of course, here in TTML. As now he comes to the line and goes 6th, 21.3. Not a bad introduction there from Luca, and he's there or thereabouts in terms of Daniel and Vengeance's sort of pace as well. From ATC out on top, Tom in second, Fletty in third. A few comments coming through as well. Ruti saying Suomi, which of course means Finland or Finnish, I think, in that natural language, and I think he's supporting obviously MedTC and the likes tonight. And of course Kermit there in the comment section with the fish.
Oh yeah, always the weirdest comments here in the TTML universe. Definitely always Kermit comes in with some weird emoji system, so very interesting. But then again, that's the mixture of drivers we have here in TTML, where some come from different backgrounds and come from different languages, so they root different drivers and different nationalities, so you love to see it. Something I do want to make a note of is Jensen is now on a lap here. He's going to hit the end of Sector 1 here, so we're going to see where he currently is on his times right now. Actually, sorry, Sector 1's a little bit farther up. Got to remember, old layout. So we'll see where he can put that car here. He's getting a good entry, a good exit. Going to come to this last corner here, and he is going to be, needs to be around the 26, 27 range, and he is in the 26 range, 26.645. So he is up in his times. Not enough for a pole run, but he's going to have to find some good time in the second, third sector. But something I do want to note is MedTC is on 2-lap old softs when he qualified on, and Aries right now is on 3-lap old softs. And I know tire wear isn't really a pain around here per se, but that extra wear when the drivers maybe around you on the grid are on 1-lap old softs could be a bit of a teeth kick. Because, yeah, and now, if you just saw Jensen 2 tenths up, that would be in the 28 range. But he had a little bit of a mistake coming through that chicane. We'll see if he can hold time steady. Got a couple more corners to go. Trying to get a good entry and exit. Yeah, it goes a little bit too wide there. I think that may be real curtains for a pole run, unless he can really sneak out some time for 15 to 16. Yeah, we'll see. Rudy is in the pits. Just letting MedTC finish his lap. Not MedTC. Jensen finish his lap here, and it's going to be a 1:20.790. It's going to be an improvement, but definitely could have gone a little bit faster, and the 2 Red Bulls are 1-2 right at the moment as now MedTC heads out the garage.
Tom is improving as well through the first sector. He's 500 up and a 26.5 through the first sector, the fastest sector out of everyone so far. Jensen, though, that all spawned coming out of the exit of turn 12, where he took a very high 6th gear on the exit of the corner. See what Tom's doing, 48.3 in the middle sector. That's rapid from Tom. Takes very low 7th gear, and that's what you want to be taking to get the speed all the way up in towards turn number 13, and if you don't catch this curve like Jensen did, that's perfect from Tom. Tom is on an absolute banker lap here, and this should be MedTC being knocked down to second. Tom is on an absolute god-sending lap, coming through the final couple of corners, a little bit sideways out of 15, now through the final corner at 16. It's going to be very tight to MedTC's lap time, but now he's degraded the speed all the way through the final corner on the run to the line. I was confident, 20.5 on a set of soft compound tyres, and he goes quicker than MedTC by only 1800ths of a second.
Game on for MedTC. Now he's going to have to try to beat that lap. He wants pole position. And Tom, yeah, great lap there. But we also know Jensen, who I think he's at a cooldown run. He'll be going for one more push. He knows what he did wrong. He's got that in the back of his head. So we'll see if he could maybe rectify the mistakes and make good jumps. I think it's just slow down AlphaTauri there. But I do think it could be something worth noting, because now Aries is also going to start a run here as well. We are commentating. Rudy put the car into 4th. Fletty's on a run as well. He's a 10th up on his times. He could be easily near Jensen right now. We also do got Aries, who's also a 1/10 up on his times. He could be close to Fletty, so we'll definitely see what happens. I think, as I was cutting through Aries, yet Fletty just invalidated, so sorry, Fletty. A little bit of a commentator's curse there. But we still got Aries, possibly could make an improvement. He's still 1/10 up his time. Takes a very good exit here, so we'll keep an eye on the Haas driver. And now he's 2/10 down, so never mind.
I think he's just came off a lap, actually, his arrows. Yeah, he goes 6th, though. 21 flat on that in that Haas, on that set of soft compound tyres. And another driver, actually, that has done multiple runs on that set of soft compound tyres. We'll see what MedTC is doing. Well, that's not indicative. I thought it was 4/10 up coming to the first sector. He got caught on the curb, though, coming out of turn number 5, and that is him backing off his lap. He was not happy with that first opening corners at all. And MedTC, 20.6, coming down through the middle sector. He's backed off this lap, and he won't be improving. I'm trying to see if anybody else is on a lap. Lynx was on one.
Bench is looking okay on his time. I think he's on a slowdown lap, because it did pop up for a second. Yeah, Aries is on a cooldown run. Daniel just crossed the line P8, so that answers your question. Luca, no, he's on a slowdown run. We got Carlsby. Yeah, Carlsby is probably the next one to put down a time here.
Coming through 14, gets caught on the curb very nicely, but a degraded speed away is the Finn on a lap. He's going to be well off the timings here, I think. It could be a 22, perhaps, from Carlsbury. Round the final corner, on the run to the line, it's going to be nowhere near a 22. On the run to the line, 21.4, but it is a little bit way off the time. I mean, it's only 9/10 off pole, but 9/10 around this track is quite sparse, especially when you've got the top two. 1800ths of a second away from each other, and then the gap behind is 2/10 of a second to Jensen. So that is a big chasm, really, between both Red Bulls. But with 5 minutes to go in the session, Tom out on top, MedTC in second, Jensen in third. Trying to see if anybody else on up. I think Lucas just came off one, Steph was on one. I think everyone, though, is very happy to come into the pit lane. Ares was looking through the middle sector. I'm not sure if we've got a desync possibly going on there with Ares. No, Ares is on a lap.
Yeah, he's on a lap. He's on a lap here. He loves taking 1 or 2 laps here. So we'll see what Aries can do in his Haas. Yeah, I thought he was on a lap because it's 0 on his tires, but he was on, I guess, a warm-up lap. Then here we go again, and he gets not as good an exit as Tom got, but definitely right now, if he's on pace to be between probably a McLaren. Yeah, I made a mistake there. He's validated. So never mind. Sorry, Aries. You got your 3rd lap though. He did set his time on 3 laps off, so we'll see if on the. Now he's coming in now, so never mind. So making the mad dash for fame. But I think MedTC is heading on the clear track there, and I think he's actually going for a run, so keep an eye on MedTC at the very least.
I'm tempted to say as well Luca is on a run. He's on the other side of the track coming through turn 14, and he's flying actually on this lap is Luca, coming through 15, and then in towards 16, 3.5 minutes to go, and actually he's Jukeby coming into the pit lane, and he's nearly got into the pit wall coming into the pits. My goodness me, that was close. MedTC, though, is on a lap, but he's actually invalidated. He's coming back into the pits. And Juan Rocco is also invalid, so nobody else is on a lap at the minute.
Yep. So yeah, everyone's kind of pushing it. Something I want to point out, though, is something worth noting is Grosso hasn't put down a time yet. Remember, last week's sprint race winner, just sitting in 19th right now. I think he's now coming out on the track as we speak. Yes, he is. So he's coming out with about 2 minutes to go. So maybe keep an eye on Grosso here and see what he can do, because he was pretty fast in his AlphaTauri last week. And him being down in 18th, maybe Belgium's an outlier track. He's really strong at Belgium. Who knows? But maybe we have to keep an eye on him on his one run here. But considering that he's waiting till the death of it to set a time down, it's definitely something a little bit interesting at the very least, because there's really no room for error here. If he makes one mistake, he'll be starting in 18th, way, way down the rest of the field.
Schender's the first man on the lap coming through turn number 4, and then coming through turn number 5. And he's not looking comfortable at all through the first sector. 26.8, way off what the times have been set through the first sector. As he just ran wide there. I don't know how he's got away with that, to be honest. He should back off his lap. We are running on board in full view, Shender, if you're listening to the stream. So coming through turn number 10 on board with them now. And then, of course, into the kink of 11, where John Lacey famously ran out of fuel in 1999 around here in the Albert Park circuit. And he's responded actually quite well in the middle sector, Shender. I'm not sure if it's to do with that little bit of a corner cut coming through turn number 5, but we'll have to wait and see what Shender is doing in this final sector, in through the final couple of corners, as he's spun the car into the wall. And Shender taking too many risks. We saw it through turn 6 and 7, and then again through it there at 13, and he's ended up backwards, and he's got no foot wing, and that's the end of his session.
Oh, yep, it is. That's a shame to see for the Ferrari there, but again, learning experience. He looked like he could have got maybe in the top 10 if he was, I wouldn't say that far, but definitely at least 12th or 11th, but you hate to see it. But cutting on drivers now, we got Tom just started to run. Jensen currently in the second sector here. He's 1/10 up. That could be enough to at least get him second. He's going to have to find a little bit more time in the third sector here in order to get first. But remember, he made a mistake in the corner coming up here in 13. Can he get some more time? He's in fourth. Gets a good exit, so that's going to be a little bit of an improvement. This could be a pole run for the Red Bull driver. You don't think?
No, he's taking too much curb coming through 14. I think he might have just backed off slightly as well. Dara's retired from the session in the pit lane. Jensen will around the final corner. I'm not convinced this is going to be pole position on the run to the line. And he's made me look like an absolute mug, because 20.5 set us off comparatised visually. That did not look great from Jensen, but Tom is invalidated. Has he just hit the wall as well?
He butchered 9 and 10 so horribly. He just, basically Dukes of Hazzard it, cut the line, and he's trying to... Yeah, he just made a horrible mistake there, locked it up, and I don't know how much time we got left. I think, 22 seconds, he will not make an improvement. So that's session done for Tom. He will not be on pole run. We got Rudy, who's invalid, so he's done. Met TC's currently through Sector 1. Ooh. He's a 10th up on his time, so he could be something to keep an eye out for. Just got to kind of cut for the rest of the field. We also got Fletty in Sector 1 as well, where if nobody's now just validated. Links is on a run.
Aston Martin ran, I think it's Steph, crashed it through turn 12, I think, just seen on the other side of the track. I'm on board with Med TC. In theory, at the minute, he's going to be setting the same lap time as Jensen. What is he through the middle sector? Still, same lap time as Jensen. This is going to come down the absolute wire, and he's just nearly cocked it up. Oh, no, sorry, goodness me. He's just messed it up completely coming through turn number 12. Sorry about that, for that fruitful language. I don't know where that came from. Med TC, though, has spun the car. He's not going to be improving. I think Fleddy is not improving either. Lynx is invalidated. Ares, though, is on the lap. The German coming through the final couple of corners. Through turn 14, through the left-hander of turn 15. And we'll see what Ares is going to do. It's his fourth run, I think, on this set of soft compound tyres. Is he going to find any minimal improvement on the run towards the line now? He should go ahead of Fleddy, I think, here. On the run to the line. And he does. And he goes ahead of Rudy, in fact. Goes fourth. Good lap time from him. Jensen is back into the race. TC is done with. Daniel is not on a lap. Vengeance not on a lap. Luca isn't. He's lost his front wing. Carlsbury isn't. That's the end, I think, of qualifying. No, Grosso was on a lap. Grosso coming to the final corner. AlphaTauri, I don't think he's going to put it up there amongst Jensen and the likes, but to the line, he goes 8th. Not bad, actually, get a first run in. To go, 8th position, very good lap time there from Grosso. Jensen out on top, Tom in second, Med TC in third. Apologies about my fruitful language there, I don't know where that came from, to be honest. But, basically, what we saw there, Med TC taking too much of a gamble. He was, in theory, going to be setting a quicker lap time than Jensen before he made that complete mess up coming out of turn 12. And it's so difficult to get right there, because Med TC in third, he'll still be happy with qualifying. Could have easily been pole position, though.
Yeah, that could have been a pole position run, and again, after kind of the bad form he's been in for the break week, he kind of wants to find that form again, and it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but Jensen kind of pulls it out from the depth. He'll take pole, and Tom and MedCC are kind of in the what-if camp because they had good laps, but not good enough laps to end up taking pole position. But we've seen for the previous races where pole position isn't all it's cracked up to be, because we've seen some drivers, when they've had pole position, they've not won the race. So, again, we've seen Jensen come back from it, Tom as well. So take that with a grain of salt, at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. So Jensen though out on top. Shazoo won too, actually, as well. Jensen out on top, Tom in second. Alongside, are they going to do battle like what they did in Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago? We'll have to find out. MedCC in third, Ares in fourth, Rudy in fifth, Fleddy in sixth, Lynx in seventh, Grossel there in eighth, Daniel in ninth, and Vengeance ran off the top 10. Then it's Steph, Luca, Carlsbury, Shender, and Smalley ran off the top 15. Black Box, he's only 4,000th of a second off Smalley's lap time in the end. Good lap time from him in 16th. Chokers, Dara, and Juan Rocco. Both of them didn't get lap times in. Dara DNF'd into the retired in the pit lane, and Juan Rocco I think DNF'd out on track and didn't finish a lap there. But here tonight in Australia, 19 drivers about to do battle. This should be a fascinating race, and hopefully there's no more fruitful language in the stream, because we don't want to get blocked, considering we've just reached 100 followers as well.
I think you'll be okay. I've heard worse from UK bars at the very least, so I think we'll be okay at the very least. But as we're looking through, we do have a message from Garbage Official Gaming. So welcome, Garbage Official Gaming. Hopefully you're cheering on your favorite driver here at the very least. Interesting Twitch username. But very sunny day here in Australia. Should be a very fruitful day, and I think tire strategy would be interesting. I think most drivers are on 1 lap, 2 laps off tires, so no one's going to really be pushing it. But outside the top 10, we'll see if anyone maybe takes the alternate strategy and tries maybe a set of mediums and maybe tries to get ahead of the 8 ball at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. So, the popcorn emoji coming into the comment section there as well by Mr. Kermit. Kermit, of course, being popcorn, celebrating, I think, because we've reached 100 followers. Given my fruitful language there, I think we've probably lost a few followers now, but there we are. We are going to get going here, of course, in Australia for round number 7 of the championship. Of course, we went to Belgium, sprint race and feature race completed. Australia, a whole different kettle of fish. Be on the watch out, though, for quite a lot of DNFs, I think, in this race. Coming out of turn 12 especially, we will see drivers maybe in the wall, and a few safety cars could be deployed out on track as well. So there's a pre-warning for everyone, but we are now on the formation lap, and of course, top 10 qualified on that set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else, but Carlsbury, interestingly, going for a set of medium compound tyres. Carlsbury being the exception rather than the rule, and he's going for a set of softs. And given how he's been quite pacey in the early stage of the races in the last couple of weeks, I really commend that strategy, because I think he's going to be really quick on that strategy.
I don't hate the call. I think it's good. He's going to have to get quickly through Luca and Steph, but if he can get up the field quick on lap 1, that's definitely a strategy that could work out and make him a net gain. The only thing and we also saw during qualifying, he was also a bit weak on the mediums. He didn't seem confident on the mediums on that opening run. So, yeah, I don't hate the call. If he thinks he's better on the softs, take a risk, roll the dice, because you're in 13th. What do you got to lose this far back down the grid? And see what you can gain at the very least.
Yeah, definitely so, but obviously Jensen out on top, Tom alongside him. The front two in the championship are going to do battle, of course, here. MedTC, who's came back to some sort of form, I think, in qualifying, going there in third. But Jensen and Tom, this is the battle I think we have wanted to witness all season. We saw it for 10 laps in Saudi Arabia. Are we going to get part 2 here tonight, Australia? What's your opinions on this?
I think it's going to be a very good battle here between Tom and Jensen. We do got Matt TC, the rear gunner here. Could be a bit of a thorn in the side of Tom, but I think it's a top 2 breakaway at the very least, and I think they're going to be dueling in the Australian Outback. But again, maybe that third-place driver, I think, could be a very case between Med, Rudy, McLaren's, or even Aries. I don't even think we can rule out Grosso, so I think 3 through 8 are going to be fighting for that third spot, but I think it's going to be a top 2 show here for the win.
Possibly could be, and Australia, of course. Jensen literally said to us last week, or Tom actually said to us last week, it wasn't his favourite track. Jensen similarly said it's not his favourite track. Both of them, first and second in qualifying. I think that's a driver's excuse of perhaps egging us on a little bit to try and make the streamers maybe think otherwise. But Pepsi, quickly, who's your top 3?
I got Jensen, Tom, and I'm going to go for a wild card here. I'm going to go Aries.
I'm going to go Jensen, Tom and Rudy as a very boring choice for a top 3. Watch it come right as well. You watch. My predictions have been bang on this week. Hopefully it might be another one here tonight. There is Jensen's run down towards turn 1. There is Tom's run down towards turn 1. And now we better get going. The 5 red lights are coming on here in Australia. We're going down under for round 7. And it is Lights and away we go. Tom gets a very good start. He's already got Jensen off the line, and Tom surely will lead in towards turn 1. The AlphaTauri and the Red Bull go side by side, and Tom gets the jump on the inside line and gets the lead in towards turn 1. Rudy and Fleddy are fighting side by side for 5th, and he's round actually. Rudy gets caught by Fleddy. There's carnage further down the field. More from Wing coming off. I think that might have been from Rudy actually. One rocker was slept off the start as well. Black Box got involved in an incident as well, but Tom leads the way. Jensen in 2nd, Harris in 3rd, Grosso, Carlsbury, Daniel both going side by side now. The Alfa Romeo and the Haas just about gets ahead. So the Finn ahead of the Dutchman, and he's into 8th. Daniel there in 9th. Steph ahead of the medium runners at the minute in 10th. Good start from him. Lucas Smalley, there's a spinner in the middle sector. That is one Rocco that is round coming out of turn number 5. Of course, and he's left the session, which is disappointing, I've got to be honest. Tom though leads the way. Jensen in 2nd, and Tom got that start, got the actual launch, and is absolutely cruised away from Jensen. And Jensen is under pressure from Aries, and of course Aries put him under pressure in Saudi Arabia, so it's a real repeat, I think, of that.
Yeah, it is a real repeat of that at the very least. It was kind of keeping an eye on the back of the field there to see what happened. Yeah, Juanco just lost it on his own accord. I think he got a little bit of a touch made for Black Box, but that's what I saw. Also, Rudy had a slight mistake as well with Matisse, but again, that's going to cost Rudy out dearly. I don't know if he got front wing damage. I saw end I think it was farther up the grid, so we'll see who comes in here to see if they have damage. So far, no one making a break for the pit lane. I know saw some wing. It is going to be Shenda. So Shenda coming in, he'll be pitting his wing. I think he's the only one that got major damage. Maybe the AI Juanco will be pitting as well, because obviously he's not here. Just that insult to injury, Shenda speeds to the pit lane. So add 5 to his totals at the very least. But we got Tom Jensen. We do get the Haas of Carlsby up to 8th already, really making those softs work like we said in the pre-race. Definitely catching up greatly on the back of Grosso right now on a train, and top 10, actually almost everyone's still in the DRS train up to Rudy, so right now everyone's holding station. If it keeps like this, it's going to be very interesting at the very least when DRS activates 1 lap time. Other than that though, everyone's just kind of holding station. Daniel on the back of Carlsby not really going to make any move here, and I think we're just waiting for the DRS to open, and we'll see them get a little bit more feisty when that happens.
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously, first half of the race probably going to be better than the second half, I think I'm tempted to say. Tom though leads the way. Gap 7/10 for 2nd. Jensen there in 2nd. Aries there in 3rd. Everyone looks like they're coming through turn 12 safely. Turn 11 and 12 chicane, of course. Vengeance on the back of Smalley, looking for a bit of vengeance, possibly on the back of the Scotsman. He's not going to get the move done here in towards 13, but maybe next lap around, and if he's out of a DRS train, possibly Vengeance can get that move done on Smalley. Rudy as well, catching right on the back of Darren behind the TTG man is struggling now. The IFR man pulls to the right hand side in towards 10-15. Normally don't see an overtake here, and you won't see an overtake here because he didn't want to go for that move at all. Rudy now around the final corner though has got the run on Dower, possibly in towards turn 1 with the battery deployed. DRS now enabled, of course, this lap, but won't come online until we get to turn 12. Rudy down the inside and towards turn 1, doesn't need DRS. Lovely move by Rudy, and now he is turning into P15 on his teammate. His teammate didn't want to really fight that, but Rudy through, and he's holding his teammate off now down towards turn number 3 at Wayford Corner. Rudy now through, and he's into 15, and he's got Chalkers right in front of him, and I think Rudy will probably get him before the end of the lap.
Yeah, I think Rudy could definitely make a move on Chalk as well. He got pretty good pace in the back here, but obviously that little blunder has cost him. We saw the drivers make up for blunders and mistakes. So we saw Tom in Silverstone as a good example. So don't count Rudy out of this yet. He can easily reel his way back into this and still be a threat. Here comes Rudy. Thinks better of it. Doesn't want to end up the wrong way around there. We also got Smalley getting passed by Vengeance just up the road. And the Williams driver will pass the Alfa Romeo driver for 12. So put Vengeance up 1, Smalley down 1. Rudy getting a little bit antsy, but again, just going to kind of play it safe. Doesn't want to have the wrong way around, but I think Aries could be making a lunge possibly on the back of Jensen next time by maybe, because he got a good exit there on the brakes, but I think Jensen got a better corner entry. But definitely keep an eye on Aries here. He's getting relatively okay on the back of Jensen.
Rudy mincing through the field as well. He's into 14th, got the move done around the outside of Chalkers into turn 13. Nicely done, and he's now catching back up on the DRS train with Smalley and Vengeance, now becoming the real cork in the bottle. But you say there, Aries, he looked really quick, I've got to say, in towards turn 12 last time around. Didn't obviously pressurise Jensen. I think he's just capable of just sitting and waiting and behind, like he did in Saudi, of course, because Tom and Jensen went to war ahead of him. Aries was there to pick up the pieces. He got a podium that day, and Aries, of course, is a man that that has got previous experience with these two this season. So Tom leads the way, Jensen in second, Harry's in third, MTC in fourth. Fleddy's now looking quite quick though in fifth. He's on the back of MTC, just applying a bit of pressure. MTC now beginning to get caught in the wash that's in front of him, and Fleddy has got a little bit of clear air with Lynx just giving them that clear air behind him. Fleddy is looking quite quick. He's there in fifth, Lynx there in sixth, Grosso as well, the Italian, the SXT man on the back of Lynx. He's looking quite quick as well in towards turn number 12, but everyone of course running the DRS train, which is probably why they are so quick. In towards turn 12, we've got a spinner, and that is Chalkers round through turn 10, and Grosso I think is going to try and go for the move on the back of Lynx here, in towards turn 13, and Ascari thinks about it for the send, but he doesn't go for the move. But Chalkers is round, coming out of turn 13, and it looks like he's just about getting the car going again, which is good.
That's good to see. He keeps his head down, keep going. He was struggling during qualifying in that corner, so looks like he's okay at the very least, but definitely a bit of a bruised ego. We saw Daniel get a 3, so he's really trying to keep on the back of the pack here at the very least. But yeah, again, just kind of running station, DRS train all the way down to 9th, which you don't usually see because usually a couple drivers break away, but no, Tom's not been able to kind of take that pack and pull away from the train. So they all been kind of holding station, and I think we're definitely going to see the undercuts definitely going to be potent around here. We do got Steph making a move on Luca. Sorry, Luca making a move on Steph.
Oh, he's got too
Steph
deep.
Not really going to put a fight. Oh, well, yeah, never mind. Luca was a little bit too deep, so thought Luca had it. I think Luca thought it was a foregone conclusion, but went a little bit too deep and ends up giving the position back to Steph, and now Luca loses more time than he would have for making that overtake. So Luca's going to have to get back on his horse and try again to get back through that.
Similar one, to be honest, to Stroll and Bottas, I think, in this afternoon's race, obviously in Australia. Luca there in 11th, basically just overcommitted himself, like Bottas did in towards turn 3, defending off Stroll. He just overshot the corner and then got forced wide, basically, by the driver in front of him. Rudy, by the way, is looking on the outside of Smalley in towards turn 12. He's got to think about going side by side. They don't want to go side by side through here, and that's just silly from them both, and Smalley is into the wall.
Yeah,
that could have been avoided. Should have been avoided, wasn't avoided. Drivers know better than that. Smalley resets the track as well, and that's unfortunate. Don't know what Rudy was thinking, trying to go around the outside of turn 12. It's pure suicide, I think, to try and go for a move there. I know he's got, obviously, better things to worry about than, obviously, trying to fight with, as Daniel is round coming out the final corner as well. He has spun very far on, actually. Might have got caught in the outside curb. He's got the car back going again. He's in 14th. No front wing damage on the car, luckily. But Rudy there, coming back to that. Don't know what he was thinking going around the outside of there. I'm not sure who inflicted the damage on who. But 2x2 into 11 and 12. I've seen it done before. But
That's
come on, guys.
The last lap, not lap 6. But yeah, I just kind of saw the tail end of that. I know the beaches are great around Australia, but it's not a good excuse to be going off into the sand this early. But yeah, other than that, though, yeah, add insult to Rudy kind of touched the wheel of Smalley, and Smalley's going to have to pit for a front wing change while Rudy continues on. So I think the stewards may take a look at that. I don't know if they can really do anything per se, but maybe something they'll have to keep an eye on at the very least. But on that, though, still top 8 in a DRS train. Steph has really lost the back of Carlsby because of the tow car Daniel being gone. So it's really a top breakaway on the softs, while Steph is the fastest man currently on a set of mediums. But that may not be for long if Luca can get back to him and make a move. But yeah, everyone's holding station, but I think undercut is going to be probably the ideal strat around here, because if you're Aries or Jensen or Fleddy, as I think that's Chalkers around again, it is. But if you're Aries, MetTC, Fleddy, an undercut may be your best bet here in trying to get some more track position, or maybe even leading this race, because someone's in the background.
Steph around in the final corner, he just purely lost that on the outside curve. I'm not sure if he's got any damage. He's done very well to keep that out the wall. Jensen, by the way, looks like he's going to attack for Tom in towards turn 3, not quite close enough to the lead of the race. But Steph, I was right on board with that because I thought Luke was going to get the move done. He already got the move done because Steph literally got caught on the outside curb. The rear left got caught on the front on the curb, spun the car around, lost it by himself. He's went side on the left-hand side into the wall. Darius has just picked up a penalty. Went side on into the wall. Very lucky not to pick up left side end plate damage. Steph there still in 12th position and still in this race, which I think for him, very fortunate indeed. And he's another one. I think that might be hoping that a safety car is well and truly needed in this race. Anybody, by the way, that is trying to watch the MotoGP at the same time as this stream, Enia Bassanini has just taken the race lead.
Oh, yeah, cool. I'm not a big MotoGP guy, but that is cool to hear, I guess. Yeah, good for him. Anyway, I have really nothing to follow that up with. Yeah, Tom, Jensen, Aries, top 3 Aries. That's going to be kicking himself in the teeth here because, Aries gets a snap of oversteer there. Very bad dirty air, though, and he almost ended up putting it in the wall. He's thanking his lucky stars that car did not end up going the wrong way around there. But, yeah, the Haas driver, definitely a Code Brown moment at the very least. He's going to still stay in DRS range, but that may be the thing that gets Tom and Jensen a little bit more breathing room away from the pack.
I think this might be the fight now for Jensen to try and take to Tom. He might look to the inside line in towards turn 3. He thinks about going around the outside. He gets alongside him in toward Whitefoot corner. Tom just shuts the door and Tom holds the lead of the race. Jensen, first try, that is. And that's the first warning shot. Rudy around the inside of turn 3 at Whitefoot gets the move done. He still needs into 10th on Vengeance further down the field. And Vengeance, of course, doing well on his actual full-time debut, of course, here in TTML F1. But Tom leading the way. That was the first chance for Jensen to get the move done. Second chance will be up to turn 13. And, personally, I think this is only for one thing and one thing only. Is another spinner. That is Smalley, I think, round coming through 15. Jensen, though, if he is close enough, as Schender has had a collision with the 2 Ferraris around, I think. Schender and Chokers have had a collision through turn number 1. Didn't see that on the screen, but on the mini-map I saw that. Very weird one between the 2 teammates. Grosso on the back of Lynx not getting close enough either, but Jensen not close enough. If he was close enough there, I think he would have tried to get the move to try and get, obviously, first dibs into the pit lane.
Yeah, especially first dibs in the pit lane here, because Jensen and Metz are going to have to pit on 2 different laps here. And we know last time they were in the pack... Oh, yeah, Grosso pitting early here. I think he thinks the undercut's going to be the strongest. He was just on the tail of this train here, and usually the driver that pits first, usually the rest follow in suit, so we may see a couple drivers coming in this time by if they don't want that overcut to be a little bit too powerful. But the question is, will Grosso come up with some time here? I think we do have a move here with Aries, Fletty, and we do got Metzi making a move on Aries to put the Red Bull driver up the 3rd, Aries down the 4th. Metzi thinks it's go time, so I think this may be Metzi's pit lap. Is again, I think Smalley is around.
Smalley is around indeed, coming out of turn number 10. MTC did get the move done on Aries. It looks like Aries, though, might have made a slight mistake coming out of turn number 2, and that is why he's just struggling. Maybe 3-second penalty, applying a bit more pressure on him. Fleddy is there to try and take that 4th position off him, and he doesn't need to. He just needs to wait in behind, I think, at this stage. Grosso, by the way, set a hard compound of tyres. That's an interesting call. I thought he would have went mediums. 20 laps on a set of mediums can make it quite easily around here. And that's the wrong call for Grosso. So, as Fleddy gets caught on the curb, there's a yellow flag again. It's Smalley round. He may as well come into the pit lane and retire the car, I think, at this point. Unless he thinks the safety car going to be coming out. Luca and Steph have picked up 3-second penalties as well. Jensen applying a bit more pressure, though, to Tom. They're pulling away by a second to make TC in 3rd. He's becoming the ultimate wingman at this point. And we'll see if anybody's coming into the pits. Yes, Fleddy is in. So Fleddy responds to Grosso coming into the pits. Grosso there, 14th. Smalley's retired from the session into the pit lane. Hopefully this doesn't cause any sort of glitches or anything. Fleddy, though, into the pits.
Rudy in as well.
I think, though, we're going to see Jensen maybe on the back of Tom in towards turn 3 at Whitefoot corner. The Red Bull on the back of the AlphaTauri pulls to the outside line. He's trying to go all the way around the outside of turn number 3. Jensen has overcommitted into the corner. And Tom holds on to the lead of the race. Jensen there in 2nd, Metzi in 3rd. Fleddy is coming out the pit lane, as Rudy, you mentioned as well, coming in. But Grosso is out of the pit lane. And Fleddy, that is just ridiculous. Smalley's AI is coming out the pit lane in front of him. And Fleddy nearly had to cut across the white line there. And that's the point of not retiring in the pit lane, I think. If we want to try and get rid of that rule, we can. Smalley's AI has came out the pit lane. The game clearly not liking the fact that Fleddy came into the pit lane behind him either. Fleddy nearly had to cut across the white line. He didn't. I saw that. He didn't. But it's another thing in this game that is just a complete and utter joke. As Schender has crashed through the final corner. Is that near the pit wall?
That could be a safety car. Yeah, that's the pit wall. That could trigger something. He's on the pit line, kind of safe in that area. Let's see if we can get a quick look at here. Drongo, keep an eye for a red Ferrari. Where is it? Oh, yeah, that's on the circuit. That probably should have triggered a safety here, considering he was on the last corner there, but again, this game's weird. But here comes Tom, I think, sensing maybe there was something coming. Tom wanted to come in. Metzi will follow suit. We do got Carlos B and Jensen staying out there in that top pack. Everyone else making a mad rush for the door here. And we'll see any time could gain, but quick thought, don't when the cars come out of the pit lane, aren't they ghosted?
Yes. luckily, it was ghosted on that time. Yeah, Smalley had retired and had left the session, luckily. His AI, though, still was entitled to come out the pit lane when he did. Black Box is ahead of Tom, by the way. Grosso was getting all sorts of positions here. He's ahead of Lynx coming out the pit lane.
Yeah,
Shendler retires, though, at the race. We thank him, though, for attending. Grosso there. Fleddy on the back of Aries, though. Going to be quite close. The Dutchman on the back of the German. And in the end, Fleddy's not going to go for the move in toward White Feather turn 3. So Aries hold on to the position. Fleddy there in 11th. But Tom has got room between himself and MedTC. It's around a second, and MedTC has got to try and come into that gap. Jensen, though, he looks committed now to come into the pit lane. Look at the amount of battery he's used up. And again, coming out of turn 12, he uses up a bit more of that battery. Thomas doing Black Box, coming through turn number 8, I think that was. Good move down the inside there of Tom. But Jensen pulling away from Carlsbury. This is the ultimate in-lap for Jensen. He's pulling away, actually, from Tom. Could be side-by-side coming out the pit lane here.
It could be, and the question is who will hold corner here. It's going to be a very race here. This is where the virtual mechanics get paid their money. This is going to be where they're going to have to get the time here because it's going to be close. Carlsby also coming in as well. Luke will stay out. He'll inherit the lead. But obviously, when they come out, it's going to be Tom and Jensen for net P1. Fleddy gets 3 multiple warnings. Jensen's now leaving the pit lane. Tom's coming through the final corner. This is going to be interesting. As we'll keep an eye on your screen here, the AI is still slowly
Jensen's going to get it, I think.
I think he is too. Tom coming down the long straight.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be a run. I think Jensen got the better
Tom might get him. Tom will get him.
Tom's going to get him. So undercut more powerful. I think Benson he can even make a case as well.
No, he will not. Black Box as well is going to be side by side actually, and MedTC's right on the back, and Black Box is going to be overtaking Jensen here. This has gone completely according to script for Tom. MedTC dives it down the inside of his teammate. He's going to get 2 for 1 perhaps around the outside. The 2 Red Bulls go side by side. MedTC and Jensen, they give each other room. Jensen on the outside line of turn number 5, and look at Harry's in behind us. Grosso as well. Grosso right on the back. MedTC and Jensen though can't go anywhere. They've got a rolling roadblock in front of them, and Tom suddenly, from possibly being side by side coming out the pit lane, it's nearly 3 seconds clear of Jensen. Black Box has become the ultimate Perez here in Australia.
Yeah, different teams, different manufacturers, but it's still playing out all the same. And it's just a bit of a kick in the teeth because MedTC was trying to go around the outside, and Black Box just dead middle. And now Jensen is kind of got a feeling of what he's done multiple times this season where he's able to cut through the lap cars quickly. He is really struggling to do that. MedTC gets a little snippy. He'll be okay. Here comes Jensen on the inside. Has to make it quick here. He's going to give a little bit of a push out, and here comes MedTC going to follow suit. Maybe trying to help his teammate there. A little bit of a friendly fire. Not a friendly fire, but a friendly, nice little battle there as Jensen helps MedTC get through, and Grosso getting a little bit impatient.
What a move!
He'll also forces through Black Box. If he wanted to put this time by, it's not going to happen. He's getting trained.
And Lynx is on the back of this as well. Lynx is going to try and go past Black Box down the straight in towards turn number 1. And I think Black Box is wise to that because Lynx was on the inside, gets the job done. Aries, though, on the back of Grosso, hards against mediums. You know which one I'm on. The mediums possibly going to get the run here on the hard. To the outside line goes Aries on Grosso. And nearly falls down wide, and Lynx is going to try and capitalise around the outside of turn number 4, and then through the inside of turn number 5, side by side through here. Again, it's suicide, but Aries is through, and he's into 7, and here comes Fleddy on the outside of turn number 6. This will be a great move if he can pull it off. He doesn't. He falls out wide by his teammate. What is going on in this race? Black Box and Carlsbury now side by side coming out of turn 7, in towards turns 9 and 10, and Black Box finally gets out of the way the whole field, but Carlsbury has to snap on the brakes. Not sure if there's a bit of contact there with Black Box. Black Box gets out of the way, and he's probably thinking to himself, oh, that's me done. I've got my fee from the Aston Martin team. He's there in 12th. He's let everyone else through. Fair play to him for holding up Jensen. But I liked what happened there with Jensen and Black Box, as Aries is on the back of Grosso, not quite close enough. I really like what happened there with Jensen. He just gave him a little bit of a lean to the outside through turn 13, and that's what caught me laughing, because it forced MedTC through and then instructed everyone else to come through and towards turn 15. Really masterful driving, I've got to be honest, from Jensen. Wanted to get rid of Black Box, and he did. And that's all spawned from that little bit of a lean into the final couple of corners there.
Jensen stormed the castle, and he left the door open, and everyone else was able to follow suit there, and it caused a big pandemonium moment, but that's clever driving. We've got Aries on Grosso. Aries got the better tires, and he'll make the pass quickly work on Grosso. But, yeah, clean, but definitely moments like Black Box's moments where, again, I'm just glad I don't drive as much anymore because, those were the sketchy moments when you're just sitting there and you're getting trained. You're like, please, just go. go or something. I can't fight anymore. Thank God Black Box didn't make a mistake there, but I think he's got his fill for the day. But, worthing up the note, Tom's on the back of Dragon Smith, Jensen 2 seconds back. Metzi on the back of Jensen, and Tom got that big buffer from Black Box. And it is worth noting that if that does end up holding, I think Tom's going to owe Black Box a bit of a Christmas card here. And we'll see how it all shakes up at the moment. One more thing to note is answer Unity Live's question. There's no decent issues here. Everything is clean for the most part. Now Tom makes a move on Dragon Smith. Quick, easy done. Put Tom up a second. Now chasing down Luca, who will pit in a couple laps' time.
And he's put Darrow actually now in the way of himself and Jensen. Jensen, up until that point, though, before that DRS range, Sector 2 has been the strongest. He is catching, because there's no, of course, DRS trains in the second sector. Not on this game anyways. In real life, of course, there is with the new DRS zone. But Jensen, 4th position, catching Tom. It's 2.6 seconds now. It was 2.1 before he got overtaken. Tom overtook Darrow, of course. He's now pulled away with that DRS. But Jensen, looking quite quick. If he shows that unnatural pace, he'll get Tom possibly before the end of this race and latch onto the back of him. Then it becomes the fight. Rudy on the back of Carlsbury looked for the faking, moving towards turn number 3. Didn't get the move done there. But Jensen is playing this quite smart. It's 2.6 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Gap is coming down. This is the middle sector, and this is where he can now latch it on. But look at Jensen's ERS as Steph is out of the race, coming through turn number 2. And that might be a safety car. And it is a safety car.
Oh, Tom is... One Aston Martin helped him, the other Aston Martin took it away. That is a bit of a poetic thing that you couldn't even write. That now Tom is very cross a little bit. Now the question is, who will pit for a set of softs here? Because
Luca.
Luke is definitely going to pit here, but does anyone else follow him in?
Luca is possibly going to be leading this race coming out the pit lane. And Tom and Darrow, obviously, they'll all have to stick to their delta times. Luca, though, is going to be coming in the pit lane regardless. This has really helped them in terms of this race. Anybody in a fresh set of mediums could easily try and come in the pit lane, but why would they? Darrow, I know, definitely will. 14 Apple mediums, he definitely will. Tom isn't, stays out. Darrow is in. Jensen staying out. All the guys in a set of mediums, the fresh set of mediums, are staying out. Grosso, I'm not surprised. He's on a set of hards. Jensen in for the set of softs, and Jensen's in. That was a very late call. Very late call, and that was MedTC I was on board with. He might have crossed the white line there, Jensen.
Yeah, that may be worth noting, keeping an eye to look at. Top 6 stay out. Luca's going to be the first one out on a fresh set of tires. Then Darren Smith. Then Jensen. Grosso, like I said, probably came in one to get off those hards. Then Rudy. Vengeance. Black Box. Daniels. Chalkers. And obviously Drongo coming up. He's not currently in the car, so that's not going to really matter. But I don't know if this was the right call for Tom. I mean... He's got a bunch of buffer cars. The mediums aren't spring chickens, but it's going to come down to the fact that Jensen, though, is 8 places back. And when we get going green, it's probably going to be lap 18. That's going to be 11 laps on a set of softs. That's reasonable, but they're going to be falling off by the end of it. Yeah. It's just... I don't hate the call, but it's going to come down to how quick Jensen can get through the field. If Jensen and the rest of the soft runners can cut through the field like butter, then that's going to look bad for Tom. But if they get held up a little bit by Carlos B, Fletty, Lynx, we know Fletty, Lynx, Aries, MedTC, they ain't spring chickens. They're fast drivers to a degree as well, and they could really put a monkey wrench in Jensen's ability to kind of carve up for the field. So, I don't know. I think the call's not horrible. If I was Tom, I'd stay out. I think that was the correct call. He's got enough buffer cars here, but I also wouldn't say anything bad with Jensen as well, but Jensen's got a lot of room to make up.
To me, Tom has made the right call. I think set of mediums, you've got to be on a set of softs. Chalkers, by the way, is into the pit lane, so that's going to further exacerbate the safety car a bit further. So I think possibly lap 19 we could be getting going as Chalkers is out of the pit lane. He's 50-odd seconds behind. It's normally 30 seconds you're catching the safety car around the whole lap. So we perhaps could be out for an extra lap. We have to wait and see. But Tom leads the way. MedTC there in second, Aries in third. As I was coming on to there, I think Tom has made the correct call here. He had to stay out. He's on a set of medium compounded tyres. There is no guarantee that the likes of Luca, the likes of Darrow will get through this train of medium runners ahead. They have been entitled to come into the pit lane, as has Jensen. Jensen, for me, wrong call. 9th position, he's got Luca and Darrow ahead of him. He should have just tried and stayed in position. Darrow came into the pit lane, he would have been second, he would have been ahead of MedTC. And looking at it, Jensen, hindsight, Red Bull, in terms of the championship, looking quite good in terms of the constructors. Drivers-wise, Jensen down in 9th, Matey C in 2nd, who's not really in the championship fight. You could have easily had, if Jensen didn't come in the pit lane there, Jensen ahead of his teammate, and then use his teammate, obviously, to really good effect. Ares, Lynx, Fleddy all kept behind, and then we could have had a straight match between Tom and Jensen. So, for me, Tom's made the right call, Jensen's made the wrong one, and that could be the determining factor in who wins the championship.
I still think it's a little bit long to go, because if hypothetically speaking, let's say Jensen gets up to 4th at the very least, that's 13, 14 odd points, and that's still a lead the game. But yeah, I still think Jensen's no spring chicken with cut for the field. And he's got obviously Luca and Darren Smith were going to pit. They had a pit. They were on old mediums. They were going to have to pit. So that was going to happen regardless. But I agree with you, but I don't hate the call. Because it made sense for Grosso, Rudy, and the rest to pit because they were far enough back. Why not try to gain some net spots here? Jensen, bit of a wild card, but I guess he feels more confident on a set of soft tires than he does on that. And actually, the safety car coming in way early.
What?
Chalker's not even here yet.
What? Chalker's on the other side of the track. He's 40 seconds behind, and he's probably saying to himself, to the virtual Massey, what the hell have you done? Chalker's in 15th. The coding in this game is a complete joke, by the way, and Chalker's there, 15th position. You have to feel sorry for him. Could have easily done that. It's a try not to get lap challenge, I think he put in the Discord. I was just reading there. And I think it now well and truly is the try not to get lap challenge, because he's not going to be on the back of the queue. There's no way he's going to get on the back of the queue. And unfortunately for him, he may as well come in and retire, as Tom has now said go in towards turn 15. Oh, and he gets a bit sideways out of 15. Tom, though, is coming across the line to start us off on lap 18 out of 29. Lynx right on the back of Aries, though. This is going to be side by side and towards turn number 1 between the McLaren and the Haas. And the Haas, I think, is just going to hold them off. Cosby as well. Alternatively, is trying to get the move on Fleddy. Haas against McLaren. He gets to the curb, and now Luca's going to come through on a set of softs. Cosby, not ideal. Get caught on the curb through turn 2, and now Luca to the outside line. In towards 3 at Whitefoot corner. Darren and Jensen are going side by side as well. But here comes Luca to the inside line through 4. Cosby is still there fighting it off. Scandinavian flicking it through turn 5, flicks him out wide slightly, and Luca's in the wall.
Jensen had to touch the brakes there a little bit. That could have been even worse for Jensen. Luca luckily doesn't hit it. Ghosting was on. I think he could have flat-footed if he wanted to, but didn't want to risk damage. Jensen definitely saw his life flash for his eyes there. He'll be 7th.
Oh, Rudy! Rudy dives it down the inside of Grosso, and that's another incident. There was no way that gap was going to be there, and Rudy just needs to look at himself and look at his performance, I think, tonight, and think to myself, yeah, this is a race I can totally forget. Rudy in 13th, again, not a clue what he's doing there, to be honest, down the inside. But Tom, as a result, leads the way, 1.5 seconds. And do you know what I said about it being so difficult for the set of softs to actually make headway? Jensen is now the lead soft runner. Yes, he's on the back of Carlsbury, but not a single soft runner has got through on the medium train on this first lap. Speaking of which, though, I think Jensen might on the back of Carlsbury. Now coming out the final corner, on the run towards the line to start lap 20. Tom leads away, or start lap 19 even. Jensen on the inside line of Carlsbury gets that job done. So Jensen now through and he's into 6th. And I think after that slight slideways moment coming out of turn 5, obviously avoiding Luca, I think we can call him Twinkle Toes, as Chalkers is now retired at the final corner, and that'll be a safety car again. Oh, as Dara sends it down the inside line. He sends it, and the safety car was deployed right on the queue, and Dara's behind, but I might be surprised. I won't be surprised if there's a 5-second penalty given for that.
Yeah, I think definitely a 5-second time penalty could be something worth noting there at the very least. We'll see if it holds or not. I didn't get a good enough look at it. I was kind of cutting for the field there, so I'll have to let you take your eyes on that one, because I was trying to figure out if Chalkers was in pit lane or not, so... He went for the late launch there. He was like, he wanted a spot. He was like, I'm going for it. And nothing, game didn't throw anything out. So he's clean, at least in the games book. But in our stewards books, that may be a different story. But this is not what I think Jensen wanted to see, because safety car comes in. I mean, Chalkers, if he didn't crash to cause safety car, he would have caught back up. But he was the cause of said safety car. So maybe a bit of a Masuma's revenge moment. But anyway, I don't know if this is what Jensen want to see, because safety car, let's say, comes in. It's going to be a quick safety car, probably. We do have to wait for Juanco's AI to catch up. That's going to be lap 2021 we'll be back on, and that's about 8 laps, give or take 8-9 laps left, depending on when it comes in. That's still plenty of time, but the soft runner's tires are going to hit the wall a little bit more here, and I don't think the safety car is what Jensen wanted to see, but it's going to give Jensen another stack up one where maybe he can get another lunge into a corner. But we just saw what happened with both Rudy and the other one of Luca when they got a little bit over antsy on those softs on the safety car restart, and both are now 14th and 13th and 14th respectively, with Rudy pitting again for another fresh set of softs. So it's up to Jensen not to get too antsy, but with go time happening, it's time to go. He can't sit around and wait too long. He's got to minimize damage, but he's kind of in a rock and a hard place situation. If he goes too hard, he ends up in a similar situation with Rudy and Luca. He's now looking at 14th, 15th, maybe 12th in the point instead of 5th or 6th, and that's going to be a full swing for Tom.
To be honest, though, I think the second safety car actually helps out Jensen more than Tom, because they didn't pit, obviously, the medium runners once again, underneath the safety car. Jensen didn't either. He's in 6th. He's on 5-lap pressure tyres, which to my account will be about 15% better tyre wear at this stage in the race towards the end. And I'd imagine Jensen on his tyres will be around the same tyre wear as Tom would be on those set of mediums right at the end of the race. So Jensen is actually in a really good position now. In 6th position, he's got Fleddy ahead of him, Lynx ahead of him. Them two are going to be on his target list immediately. And Jensen just wants to keep on the back, underneath that rear wing and the McLaren ahead of him. This actually helps him out more, completely contradicting what I said on the first safety car. Jensen is there. It's there for the taking. He's got much fresher tyres. We saw how easy he got the move done on Dara and on Carlsbury as well in towards turn number 3. So Jensen now leads off runner. He's got a medium runner behind him. Jensen has to use that up now to good effect.
The only thing I worry about is, remember, as farther he gets up the grid, the faster the cars get, and I just worry that he's got the better tire advantage, but he's gonna burn him up trying to get around Flatty, Lynx, or he gets a little bit too over anxious and he ends up making a mistake. I think the safety car helps him in a sense that it bunches him back up, but I think it brings its own catastrophe of problems that he may not work out. So I think you're right in the sense that Jensen is going to help Jensen a little bit more, but I don't like it because it's putting everything close again, and who knows, maybe Carlos gets a little bit anxious going into a corner and he rear ends Jensen. Being so close, it gives him a situation where I think this bunch up's going to really hurt him, and I think he'd be better off with no safety car than another safety car here. But that's just my 2 cents.
Smalley, by the way, in the steward's office, has put in a description of his incident with Rudy. That was on lap 5, and that's what we saw coming, of course, to turn 11 and 12. Rudy gets a good exit out of the previous corner and goes for a move on the outside. I'm ahead going into the corner, and the smart thing would be to back off and wait as he was quicker, but no, goes for a stupid move and puts both in the gravel and making me spin when I rejoin the track. And I think that's how we call it, of course, in commentary with that incident, because it looked like Rudy to me was going around the outside of that incident, and obviously got tangled up with Smalley coming through turn 12. You can't fit 2 cars through turn 11 and 12, as we've proven tonight, and Rudy, hindsight will be a big benefactor, I think, for Rudy. He'll probably realise, yeah, this is not my race, let's move on, I'll take the hit, whatever it is, and then focus on the next race. And hopefully it'll be the case where Rudy comes back, fights back, as he's actually just got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. Yeah. And I think it's because Juan Rocco has been overtaken. Safety car's in this lap, but Juan Rocco's been overtaken. He was he was ahead of Rudy, and Rudy's now got that 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag, so that's why. But safety car now coming in this lap. Tom, the virtual thermometer, the virtual safety car, and he now leads the field, and it's going to be a very slow restart. Tom's going to back up this field. Who does this help more, though? Does it help MedTC behind him, or does it help Jensen on the set of softs?
I don't know. I'd say MedTC, but that's just my argument. But if he gets spun, it could allow Prius to strike. So it's going to come down to how quick MedTC's reaction time is going to be. If he can get a good jump, he'll be on Tom. If he ends up getting swung up, Aries may be poking in. So we'll have to wait and see how it shakes up here. But I think it's going to be one heck of a finish here, and I think it's going to be a fun one. Could Tom hang on, or will someone challenge him and maybe bring the thunder? But we're going to find out as we'll see Tom go soon here. And he goes quickly there off the start and really not waiting out. Probably would wait for the last corner to maybe back him up. But yeah, Tom got a good jump. Medsey gets a little bit barreled down, and Aries is under pressure from Lynx here, and Jensen already on the back of Fleddy. Looks like it's go time here. How quickly can Jensen get his way to the front? Only time will tell. As we'll see if Jensen makes a move on Fleddy in the 1 here. Will he get antsy? No, he will not. We may see him make a move in the 3 and 4 at the very least. But everyone else really shaked up for right now. Now Jared Smith clips the grass, and he could be under pressure from Grosso. Farther back down the field, Grosso going to make the move further up the road. Jensen going for a lunge.
What a move! Oh, what a move that is! He absolutely sent it around the outside of turn number 3. That's one of the best moves I've seen around Australia. Fleddy down into P6. He's been made to look like an absolute mug by Jensen. I'm not sure if he backed off that, and fair play if he did. But if he forced that move, there was no fight at all. Jensen has thrown his into 5th. He's absolutely rapid now. He's on the back of Lynx. Might even try and get it done in towards turn 12 as Lynx now is really under pressure from Jensen. Tom, by the way, has got a 1.2 second lead over MegTC, who in turn has pulled away from Aries, and this is helping out the Red Bull now to try and pull away from him. But Jensen on the back of Lynx. Is he going to try and think about it going in towards 13? If it is, it's going to be a late move, but I think he's going to wait for turn 1. But Jensen around the outside of turn number 3. What an insane move that was. World class. He has thrown his into 5th, and that is how you overtake in Australia.
Yeah, he's got time on his side. He has a beautiful overtake at the very least there. Thought he was going to make the move anyway. Cut back to see something. Cut back in to see a beautiful overtake. Great to see. Jensen, though, has got time on his side right now. It's only lap 23. He doesn't have to push the interview too hard here, but he can't wait too long. One spot lap at a time, and he'll be fine. Oh, Jensen gets a snap out of one. That's going to allow Fleddy to catch back up here. Will be a reversal of fortune. Will Fleddy make the same pay that he just gave to Jensen? Jensen gets the better traction. He'll hang on.
Grosso!
But definitely you see Jensen pushing on it. Oh, Grosso and Carlos be fighting here. Grosso going to push Carlos off a little bit there. That may be a little bit naughty. Yeah, Grosso may have to give it up there, but I think he says, no, I'll take my chances with the stewards.
That was down the inside of Carlsbury. It's getting a bit of rough and tumble. Rudy, by the way, made a really nice move on Black Box, and now Carlsbury and Darren get caught on each other. Black Box is being forced outside Rudy. Carlsbury is forcing Rudy in front of the wall, and Carlsbury down the inside line. And that's complete reckless abandon from them all. Rudy and Carlsbury. Rudy, he got caught up in that in the wrong incident at the wrong time, but Carlsbury, I don't know what your driving is, to be honest, and frankly, yeah.
He was getting swallowed there. He had nowhere to go. He was just getting past, and there was not much. He was pinching Rudy off, but he was also kind of giving not much room on the other side, so he really had nowhere to go. Rudy put it on the grass, and then he tried to cut the corner. It was just pure mess. Carlsbury was just hoping to survive there, and sadly it did not work out. He took a couple others with him, but yeah, stewards may have to take a look at that.
The thing is, though, what expectation do you have of coming out that instant? Daniel has now crash coming through turn number 13, but what expectation did Carlsbury have seriously coming out of that move? If he had a expectation of, as Grosso was going to get the move on Fleddy, so we'll commentate on this battle and then I'll come on to my point. Grosso to the inside line on Fleddy, tries to think about going for the move, and the Italian, that's how you back off a move. That's what Carlsbury should have done. He defended way too hard. It ended up being like an open lobby, to be honest. I'll be brutally honest. Daniel now into the pit lane. He got caught up in that. He retires from the session. Didn't necessarily need to be caught up in that incident. Carlsbury set a medium compound of tyres. I saw that from both his perspective and Rudy's perspective. Golson nearly goes in the back of Fleddy, but Carlsbury there, he'll look back on that and probably think to himself, what on earth was I doing? Because that just wasn't going to happen. Rudy, by the way, through the kink of turn 11, gets the job done on Vengeance.
Yeah, good move there by Rudy there. Great move, puts up the 10th here. We got Jensen going to make a move.
He wins the
back of Lynx there. Thought he was going to go inside, but Lynx kind of heavily defended there. Nowhere to go. Yellow flag sector 2. I think that is Duranco's AI. No, it's Luca. Okay, other Alpine there, so good thing that car will be pink in next year's game. But anyway, Jensen going to be getting a toe here off Lynx, and we got Lynx in the back of Aries, but yeah, he's not getting much time on Tom. So I wonder how much those softs lives have kind of hit the wall here. They are 9 laps old, so in theory, they are not as fresh as they would be. He did have a couple laps on the safety car, but still, they're going to be a little bit spring chickened here. We'll see if he can get anywhere close, but yeah, nothing going to happen here. Going to tuck back in line. I think we're going to get a bit of a breathe moment here, but I think it's kind of a shock here that, yeah, lovely move indeed. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that Jerome Smith currently P8. I don't think many people would have predicted him being a P8 right now, as he's possibly going to make a move on Fleddy here for 7th. He'll just tuck back in line. But I think many people didn't have Durango Smith being P8 on the grid, as now Luca has retired to the pit lane. Will be down to 14 runners. It's kind of like a real-life Australian GP when it was the opening round. A lot of cars end up retiring, and not a lot of finishers end up being. As now
that was in the wall! Sorry to cut you off. Dara into the wall. Rudy goes inside of him and gets the move done into 8th. But Dara hit the wall. He's got right side end plate damage on the car. It's becoming like a war of attrition, I think, now, this race. Vengeance is just picking up a penalty. Jensen on the back of Lynx in towards turn number 13, doesn't get the move done. Black Box now on the back of Dara, should look to try and get this move done. The Aston Martin sails up the inside line, and Dara, I think, has just got to think about possibly coming into the pit lane, retiring the car. Vengeance, they both crash coming through turn 14.
Oh.
Vengeance and Dara. What are the driving? Oh, and Dara's just pushed the back off. You can only but laugh, I think, at that. To be honest, it's getting on the side of absolute ridiculousness out on track. Dara has put Vengeance basically back out on track. Rudy, by the way, more seriously, is going to get the move done on Fleddy, recovering very well despite his driving tonight. Rudy is recovering well, and he's into 7th position. Gets the move done on Fleddy, easily done. He's got soft compounder tyres now to burn. He's got Grosso and Jensen ahead of him. Jensen has not gone anywhere, I think, so far. Lynx is just literally holding him off, but it's Jensen. Oh, I was going to say that. Is Jensen holding off on the back of Lynx to try and counteract the 3-second penalty? But that's what he's just done. And Jensen into the back of Lynx. And Lynx has gone off into track as well. Tom leads the way. Matey in second. Aries in third. Grosso fourth. Lynx in fifth. Has to recover the car. Jensen can't recover. I'm not sure if there was a failure possibly there. Rudy tries to go around the outside of Lynx in towards turn number 12.
He's not going.
Jensen accelerating, maybe pedal related. Rudy to the inside line, no, now to the outside on Lynx. The I4 boys now go side by side. Rudy around the outside line on Lynx. Lynx holds on, 5th position. Jensen has managed to get that car going. I'm not sure if it was a wheel related issue or pedals or something, but Jensen into the back of Lynx. It's not the first time we've seen that this season as well. I think it was Austria. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, or certainly in another league I saw a couple of weeks ago. He went into the back, I believe it was it was nobody here, but I can't remember the driver, but Jensen into the back of Lynx, and Rudy on the back of Lynx, who gets very sideways out of turn number 2, and now Rudy just sails by. Lynx doesn't fight, and Rudy's through, and he's into 5th, continuing on. There's really good recovery in this race. Safety cars helped him. Tom leads the way. Matey C, Aries in 3rd, Jensen into the pit lane. That might be a retirement coming into the pit lane for the championship leader as well. Chase. But will he continue on? There's points still available. But with the penalty, with the points as it is, 25 points was the gap coming into tonight. Now I have to do the maths here. Tom leading the way. I don't think it's enough to take the championship lead, but I think Tom's only 5 points away, possibly at the end of this race. How it's gone.
I'll take a quick look at the math while we watch around the action here. But I did say
Aries.
that during. Oh, yeah, Aries making a move. Remember, Aries going to try to make something on Matty.
Oh, no!
Oh, he hits the back of Matty. They're both in the wall again.
And Grosso's going to get a puncture. A podium. Rudy is going to get a podium as well, perhaps, if he pulls away from Lynx.
Oh, Metzi's not happy about that one. I mean, yeah, Metzi's not happy about that one. The other Red Bull driver isn't happy as well because that just gave Rudy more points. So his two main rivals are going to steal the bag here. And I think it was a bit of an aggressive move by Aries. He knew he had that 3, but you hate to see this now. Here comes Black Box around Metzi C. But this pain. I don't know what's happening in Australia, but it seems the driving standards have been a little bit iffy in these last couple laps. I think they're getting over anxious. It's something in the water because we saw it with Jensen, and then we just saw it with Aries, and we saw the previous safety car. They're getting a little bit too anxious, and they're trying to fight with like two dogs over a $10 steak, and it ends up just causing pure chaos.
Pure chaos, and I think, to be honest, the stewards are going to be busy, but I think us in the commentary box have now gone beyond the point of caring, or certainly I have, in terms of the instancy, and the driving standards tonight have just been absolutely ridiculous. This is TTML F1. If anybody from TTML F2, F3 or F4 watching tonight and looking at this, they're thinking, my god, we drove better than that. And that's the brutal honesty here tonight. Tom leading the way, arguably has been the cleanest driver out on track, as has his teammate Grosso, because them two have not been involved in any sort of incident at all. They've kept it clean, they've avoided everything. They're first and second for a reason. Rudy there in third, Lynx in fourth, Fleddy in fifth. Lynx got involved in that incident with Jensen. No malice at all in terms of that incident. No malice at all, I've got to say, as well, with Aries and Metty C. It just looked like Aries got out of the slipstream too late. and MTC try to cut across to defend. They both got contact on each other, both into the wall, and that incident again could have easily been avoided. We could perhaps though get the McLarens fighting. Lynx is under pressure. Rudy is gaining time, and Rudy perhaps could be on the podium if he's only got 3 seconds worth of penalties, which he hasn't. So Lynx is going to be on the podium regardless. MTC looks the outside line on Black Box, gets caught in the grass slightly. Hopefully the Aston Martin and the Red Bull keep it clean with this battle. And Black Box just about holds on for P6. He's driven well, actually, Black Box, given that he did his Perez stint earlier on in the race. Wonder how much Lawrence Stroll paid him to do that. Tom, though, leads the way. Grosso in second, Rudy in third. MTC is going to hang on to the back of Black Box, possibly looking for a move. Surely not in towards turn number 9. Do not even think about this. Doesn't. Black Box in sixth, but I think MTC will get that move done. We'll go back on board with Tom, though. He's coming around the final couple of corners. He has absolutely excelled out on track. Jensen's just taken the fastest lap of the race for good measure as well. But Tom, around the final couple of corners, through turn 13. MTC's right on the back of Black Box, but he gets a really bad run coming out of turn number 11 and 12. Might not necessarily be close enough for the move, and he isn't, and Black Box stays there in sixth. But Tom, around the final 2 corners, it's been a pinnacle of clean driving here tonight from him. Tom, around the final corner, to take the win in Australia. He absolutely deserves it, and he takes, possibly, with him, the championship lead as well.
No, he will not.
Second, he won't, but he'll be close enough to try and get the championship fight at least. Grosso there in second, Lynx in third. MTC in the end was side by side with Black Box to the line. Black Box had penalties. MTC in fourth, Fleddy there in fifth, Black Box in sixth, Rudy in seventh, Vengeance in eighth. We wait on the likes of Carlsbury, Ares, Jensen, and Juan Rocco's AI. And if Juan Rocco said in the session, he'd probably finish in 12th position at this point, which would be so unfortunate. Obviously, DNF'd on lap, left the session on lap 1, I think it was. Carlsbury to the line in 9th. Ares across the line in 10th. What could have been for him? He takes the fastest lap of the race.
From Jensen.
If Jensen doesn't improve in this final sector, he is not going to be getting the fastest lap of the race. Oh, and Jensen's actually spun into the wall! Jensen hard into the wall, and that's just purely, I think, out of frustration. I'm not sure if he's going to come into the pit lane here. Round the final couple of corners, Jensen will come to the line. It has been an absolute disaster from Jensen's perspective. Across the line 11th, and did he even get DNF? Sorry about the crash coming across the line there as well. Luckily, the car's been righted as it comes across the line. Juan Rocco's AR just pulls off to the right-hand side there as well. Drive of the day, awarded by the in-game fans is Black Box. There's only one man, surely. It's got to be Tom for drive of the day. He drove such an astute race. Out in front, didn't do a thing wrong, and he takes the race win and totally deserves it because the driving standards were shocking.
Yeah, driver settings was shocking. First of all, I want to say the gap right now from Tom to Jensen is now only 6 points because that last lap, fastest lap taken by Aries, gap was going to go from 7. Now it's down to 6. So we do got a very close battle here. We are going into a break week, and you hate to see that going into a break week, but hey, it may allow a week off, it may allow some cooler heads to prevail, and driving styles can maybe to improve. Other than that, though, Grosso also, you could make a case for him being driver today as well. Came from 8th on the grid to 2nd. Did have to maybe more of just a winning nutrition rather than pace, though. But I think Tom was still driver today at the very least. But yeah, very chaotic race here. Something in the water near that end of that last 8th car. They got all a little bit too antsy and ended up taking a lot of people to the Shadow Realm.
As I've just said in the Discord as well, F3 and F4 drove cleaner tonight than you guys here. You should be disappointed with yourselves. I think I couldn't put it any better myself, to be honest, because there was incidents out on track that could have easily been avoided. Half of them are going to be ending up in the stewards, and there's going to be penalties given. Tom takes the win, though. Grosso in second, Lynx in third, MTC in fourth, Fleddy, Black Box, Rudy, Vengeance, Cosby, Ares, Jensen all finish one. Rocco won't get counted in the results. Dara, Luca, Daniel, Chalkers, Steph, and the rest, of course, going right at the end of this race, and of course DNFing at various points of the race, and what was an absolute tsunami, I think, of incidents. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's TTML F1 standard. I know it's Australia, but to be honest, the driving standard, you could have mistaken it from an open lobby perspective. I'll be brutally honest and say that now. F1 drivers here are the role models of every single stream, and the role models of every single driver in this league. And if anybody watched that from F2, F3 or F4 tonight, or are going to watch this on YouTube later on, they're going to look at this race and think, was this really TTML F1? I'm disappointed, and going into the break week, it's clear what some of the drivers should do here and improve. their driving standards, because the driving standards tonight were completely and utterly shocking. It's as simple as that, and I could go on it for a while, but we have got our race winner here, the cleanest driver out on track as well. It is Shazoo Tom, and Tom, that in the end looked pretty easy given what was going on behind you.
Yeah, I'm quite glad I sort of avoided everything, really. And there's not much I had to do other than drive.
And you drove, and you obviously took the race win. Talk us through it, though, because obviously you had to control yourself in both the safety car starts. What was going through your mind in terms of the safety car? Because we saw you stay out on those mediums. Jensen, who was behind you, pitting in for a set of softs, was that the defining moment in the race where you thought, I might just win this?
No, actually, when Jensen pitted for softs and he was only like P9, I thought the race might have been gone. But I also knew that Australia's so hard to overtake, with obviously the not modified circuit on the game. So I knew it'd be hard for Jensen to get through, and in the end he couldn't get past Lynx. And I think the extra safety car sort of helped, because he had less laps to overtake all the cars, and it allowed all the cars ahead to gain battery and defend from him. But yeah, probably any other circuit where it's easier to overtake, pitting for softs would have been the easy call, but Australia's different.
Yeah, definitely so. But obviously, looking at the championship going into the break week, I believe, funk it up,
Six.
Pepsi, 6 points?
Yes, it's 6 points.
Yeah.
As long as Jensen doesn't get more penalties or gets disqualified or whatever, if everything holds how it was, it's going to be a 6-point gap, and that will be the battle going into Imola in 2 weeks' time.
Did he not finish 11th, Jensen?
He finished 11th, yeah. So that would be 11 points, and then 30 for Rudy, and then that would be 6, because it was 25, and that would be a 19-point swing, so 6.
19 points. Yeah, I thought it was 20. Sorry, I thought it was a 20-point swing, not 19. That's my maths for you there. But obviously 6 points behind going into the break week. What is your now ploy for the rest of the season? Is it for that championship and to beat Jensen?
Yeah, hopefully to beat him, but I think Australia might. I thought it was a bad track for me, but after I put some time in earlier today and I got a good setup, I sort of enjoyed it. But Jensen had good pace in the first off stint, as he always does in the race, so it's going to be hard to keep him behind at other tracks, not like Australia where it was easy to just use a bit of my battery and keep him behind on the softs. But I haven't looked at the calendar either, but hopefully I can challenge the championship, and I know the gap's close, and Jensen missed the last round at Belgium as well, didn't he? So that probably helped towards that. But
yeah, it definitely did help towards that. Pepsi, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
I do want to say one more thing before I ask a question. Is something else worth noting is with both Red Bull drivers having kind of poor showings, it does allow McLaren to catch up in the constructors as well, because the gap was only about 214 to 186, so that's about a 40-point gap. And with the two McLaren drivers finishing 3rd and 4th respectively, and Red Bull drivers finish 11th, and I don't 100% remember where MTC finished, but that's going to be a swing, so McLaren will close the gap. But now to the question, Tom, I guess with the break week happening this week, absolutely happening next week, what are your plans for the break week? You have anything special planned?
Probably practicing for PSGL instead, because yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I guess use that time to practice for another league. Good to see that, at the very least. But yeah, James, anything else you'd like to add?
Final question from me. Obviously, we've got the break week, and then we've got Imola, the race back. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because I know you were quick around there.
Yeah, I can get. I have decent pace, I'd say. Jensen also does, and Rudy probably does as well. So Imola's a track I think everyone has some pace on, because it's a new track. Everyone probably played it quite a lot because it's new. Or it's the other way, and it's new and someone's not played it at all. So yeah, I think I can do alright, but it's hard to get a lap in quali, and yeah, it depends how much luck I get.
Yeah, hopefully the luck is on your side, and hopefully Jensen has another disastrous race out on track in terms of his performance and in terms of getting involved in incidents. You kept it clean though. You've probably got to get our driver of the day as well, so well done on that. But Tom, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Very welcome indeed. And I think we can speak to the man, of course, who finished
Links.
in P3. Yep. Yeah, that is, of course, IFR Links. And Links, another driver that ended up being quite clean out on track. A bit of an excursion, obviously, with the incident with Jensen late on. But apart from that, it was a really good race from your perspective, and he came home in P3. Talk us through it.
I mean, yeah, I was not expecting P3 from the pace that I was showing and what the guys in front were doing, but yeah, that race was just keeping it clean, and you're going to get a good position out of it with the penalties that you can get around here, and then obviously what happened with, you know, all the crashes and incidents and stuff. But yeah, my race was pretty much just don't make any mistakes, don't get warnings, and just try and get ahead that way, because overtaking around here is really hard unless you have like a tyre advantage or a severe pace advantage. So I was just sitting back, not getting any warnings, and then obviously then, you know, it was all going well. Then the safety car came out. I was gonna pit, but then I saw, what was it? Who was it? Jensen and someone else, I think, just pit, and everyone stayed out. So I decided to stay out. And I knew I had Fleddy and another medium runner behind Colesbury, so I had a little bit of protection. And I knew it was going to be a bit crazy with everyone trying to get through the medium runners and people trying to go for desperate moves and everything like that. So I decided to just stick with the mediums and just play it safe, which worked, you know. And then that second safety car came out. It saved me and Fleddy a bit with Jensen right behind. He couldn't attack us. And then obviously he got started again. Fleddy got a bad run, so Jensen got right behind me. I was able to keep him back for 3 laps. You know, he's using the DRS off Aries. And then he got a penalty, so I think he might have just lost his head a little bit. And he said he went for a dive ball or something, so he hit me. Also, I wasn't expecting that, so I nearly rammed into Aries, so I just decided to cut across the track. Obviously slowly, so I don't get a 10-second pen. And Grosso got through because of that, so that's quite frustrating. So Neil AlphaTauri got a 1-2 from that. But me and Fleddy got 3rd and 4th, so there's not much to complain about really, apart from just that little incident. So I felt I drove quite well all race. You know, from what my pace delivered, I was not expecting P3. So yeah, I'll take it. It's a good result after that crazy race.
Definitely not, and I mean, it's your second podium in 2 weeks as well, because obviously you took a feature race podium last week in 3rd, finished ahead of Grosso then. Grosso, of course, finished 2nd tonight. So my question to you is Grosso your rival, first and foremost? And obviously, being on the podium 2 weeks in a row must set you up really good for the rest of the season.
I mean, everyone's a rival in this, but I'd say, yeah, I'd say it is, because we're quite equal on pace, really. Because we were next to each other on the grid today. We were racing each other quite a lot in Belgium. But I wouldn't call him my main rival. My main rival is the guys I'm fighting ahead, and Fleddy, obviously, because he's my teammate. But obviously, we want to try and work together as well, so for the next races, it's just, you know, do what I always do, just keep it clean, avoid incidents, and just try and get the best result possible.
Yeah, definitely so, and hopefully, obviously, the driving standards will improve as a result going into the break week, because I think many drivers need to do that, of course, after tonight's race. Pepsi, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
I do got 2 things. I want to point out a quick statement, is that right now, Fleddy is 26 points back on our leader Jensen in the points after the showing Jensen had, so he still does have his outside chance, especially with this last half of the calendar here, to get back in the championship fight, so any chance we can see McLaren getting the title instead. Secondly, though, I will get to my question. I guess the last same thing I did with Tom is, what are you going to do in this off week here coming up?
I mean, it's like a second Easter break, so I have a free week, so be practicing for the races I have coming up, and then just relaxing.
Fair enough. Use that time.
I'm going go-karting on Monday as well, so that should be fun.
Cool. You're gonna go karting? That's always a fun time.
So,
and
yeah,
I guess I'll
have fun.
Oh, yeah, good to have fun and take your week off as a nice little rest one. And I guess the answer to the second question is, with Imola coming up in 2 weeks' time, how do you feel about Imola?
Imola's a weird one for me. I either have a really good race or I have a really mid race. You know, it's weird, that track. Sometimes I just go well, sometimes I don't. So I hope I have a good race. You know, sometimes I just can't gel with it. You know, I just get on the curbs and I just can't deal with them. So we'll see what happens. But hopefully it's a good race.
I mean, Tom said he was very poor at Australia, and look what happened here today. He ended up winning the race. So you never know with these tracks, these situations. But James, you got anything else you'd like to add, a question or something?
Nothing else from me, apart from good luck in PSGL tomorrow night in F6.
Yep, thanks.
You're very welcome. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the commentary. It's probably a crazy race.
I know, it was a very crazy race indeed. You're very welcome for the commentary, as always. And that, I think, completes the interviews, of course, for tonight. Big thank you, of course, to Tom and to Lynx for joining the stream and obviously joining the interviews as well. Really good to see the insight of all of the drivers, of course, that finished in the top 3. Grosso, obviously, I didn't think he joined last week when, obviously, we did the interviews last week. So Grosso obviously finished second. Really good race from his perspective. Drove very cleanly, very well, and hopefully he is going to be getting some really good points as we go through the season as well. But as we've already mentioned, it's break week this week. Happy Easter, by the way, everyone. We're not going to be, of course, live on Sunday next week, on Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to everyone. Hopefully you're going to be stuffing yourselves with cream eggs and the likes tomorrow, next week. I certainly will be, and I'll be getting quite fat. I might be up for commentary in Imola, so somebody might have to fill in for me then. But Pepsi, of course, brilliant race there in terms of the front end of the field, but driving lacking from, I would say, majority of the field, and hopefully things can improve in 2 weeks' time.
Hopefully they do as well. By the way, if you are in that food coma by Imola next 2 weeks' time, I'll make sure I'll bring my James Head ventriloquist dummy, and we'll make sure we fill in the void there. But hopefully, again, maybe in 2 weeks' time, we don't hear a disappointed Dad James as well, because it's not a fun sight to see. But hopefully Imola will definitely be fun. It's a good track. And isn't it a sprint race as well that week as well?
Is it?
Because it was Britain, Belgium. No, I think it's actually Monza down the calendar. It's one of the
Monza, yeah.
Yeah. Take a quick glance at the calendar. I got to make sure I double check it. But yeah, so Imola is not the sprint race. It's going to be Monza near the end. But yeah, Imola should be a fun race. Definitely, Tom's got a fire lit under him. Same thing with a few other drivers, and it should be very fun to watch. And I guess I'll ask you this time: who was your driver of the day here today in Australia, James?
Has to be Tom for me. Kept it clean throughout. No pulling punches at all. Clean moves. Excellent racecraft. Excellent driving. Driver of the day by a mile.
I have no real reason to disagree with you on that one. The only one case I could throw is maybe Grosso, but again, like I said, bit of a carnage survivor more than a pace advantage, but I think Tom as well, driver of the day as well, and that will be another feather to add to his cap.
Definitely so, and hopefully, as we've already alluded to, driving standards do improve, because I'll be brutally honest, I know I'm a league director here, and we have to try and stay as unbiased as possible, but driving standards there, as I said in commentary, could have been made to look like a 5-lap open lobby. We do not want that in TTML F1, we don't want that in any division in TTML, and if you were an F2, F3 and F4 driver and are tuning in, or are going to be tuning in for this race later on, and you see the amount of driving, and you thought, I had a cleaner race than that. Be proud of yourselves for being like that, because, frankly, TTML F1 did not live up to standard. I expect many drivers to improve in terms of racecraft and in terms of their practice as well, and hopefully it's an all-round better experience, because if not, there's only one way out, and you're going to be out the door as soon as you can blink. So that is literally what we expect. We expect improvement, we expect the driving to be clean, and we expect certainly the driving to obviously follow through and be role models for drivers in F1 and drivers for the rest of the league as well, because if you're not role models, you're not in TTML F1. Simple as that.
I guess that's that. No bad statement there. I can't disagree with that on any fronts as well. Driving is the top of the cream of the crop, and sometimes bad races happen. And today's a bad lesson. We'll just take it as a learning lesson. Let's move on, and hopefully we don't see the shades of it happen again.
Definitely not. Funky Chicken saying he was absolutely gutted watching the stream as well, and I'm sure he echoes all of the comments there. I've seen an announcement put in by him as well, saying, and Jamie saying, can you explain what happened? I can't reverse the stream. Basically, go and watch the stream back when we end. You will get all of the understanding about why we are complaining at the end of the stream, instead of congratulating, of course, the likes of Tom, the likes of Golso and Lynx in their top 3, because they deserved it. They simply deserved it. They drove the best they could. They were completely clean, and that's why they are the top 3. And hopefully, as I say, driving standards will improve going into the break week, and of course going into Imola in 2 weeks' time. But instead of us ranting on and rambling on, we're going to end off the stream here. Big thank you, of course, to Pepsi Freak for joining me alongside in the commentary box. Thank God my sugar rash didn't come up to haunt me at the start of that stream. Apologies if I sounded a bit croaky at the start of the stream, but we're fine now. And, obviously, going into Imola 2 weeks' time, what can the drivers expect and what certainly can us expect, the viewers?
I guess that was a question. Pure Andretti Racing. Imola's, again, new track in the circuit, but it's been on the calendar before. Definitely going to be a fun one. I think not the Temple of Speed, that's Mazda, but it should definitely be a fun thing. It's going to be in the Ferrari's backyard, so maybe Chalkers and whoever's in the second Ferrari may bring some pace here. We may be watching out for them, but I think it's going to be Tom and Jensen doing it out again, but we may see Rudy, Lynx, Aries, Grosso, so many other drivers fighting as well, so it's definitely going to be a fun one with a lot of speed and a lot of heavy braking.
Yeah, definitely so, and hopefully we might see a few moves around the outside of Tamburello chicane, like I have seen in the past around there in Imola. We are answering on, though. Big thank you, of course, to everyone that tuned in for the stream. Big thank you to everyone that has followed. Of course, if you haven't, you can follow us on Twitch. You can subscribe as well. Take that notification bell, of course, if you're new, and if you're on League Racing TV and watching this, good evening. My name is James Head, Pepsi Freak alongside me in the commentary box. You've already watched the stream, so that's pretty much just over and done with. But you can like, comment, subscribe, and tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new. TTML, of course, break week this week. EML on a break week this week, so no action from us this week. I think VRS is on, though, on Saturday, and hopefully that will be providing some comfort in terms of the action. But from all of us here, of course, in TTML, we want to wish you a very, very happy Easter, and hopefully you're not stuffing yourselves with chocolate by the end of 2 weeks' time in Imola. Have to wait and see on that. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.